Hello everyone, welcome back to another Storytime video. Freaking finally, it's been quite a long time. This actually happened to me quite recently, and it is also one of the many retail stories I have. Although this happened after work, so I don't know if I should call it a retail story, but I'll call it that anyway. And yes, judging from the title of the video, yeah, it was a near-death experience. Anyways, before I begin, for those of you who do not know, I live across the street from my workplace. It's about a 7-minute walk. I don't know if that is technically not living across the street, but I live close by it. Anyways, how did this all happen, you may ask? Well, let me tell ya. So this all started right when my shift ended. So I said goodbye to my coworkers and I walked to the break room to grab all of my stuff. So once I entered the break room, I put both my scarves, my coat, my hat, and a pair of gloves on. I had a second pair in my pocket because I needed them to work all day, because I work in the front of the building by the doors and they constantly open and close all day. And since it was negative 13 degrees, I think it was negative something, and since it's cold outside, the doors open and close really slowly, and of course I was freezing, so I had to use a pair of gloves to wear while I was working. Anyways, right before I walk out of the break room, I was like, okay, I should text my mom to drive me home, cause I didn't want to walk home in negative 13 degree weather. So I grabbed my phone out of my pocket and I load the text message app. And right when I clicked on the app, my phone wouldn't actually load it. It would just show a black screen with my battery percentage on the top right. And so I was like, I guess I'm walking home, even though I didn't intend to. So I put my phone in my pocket, grabbed all of my stuff, and I walked to the front of the building. And I asked myself, okay, what's the plan? Besides, don't die. And I just told myself, just walk home as fast as you can, and everything will be fine. And so, that's what I did. I walked out the door, and a few seconds of walking, the lower half of my body was frozen. So for the majority of the way home, I pulled my coat up to my nose and mouth just so I have some feeling in my face left. And then I started panicking because I was like, oh my god, what if I don't make it home? What if I die? Then I switched my mindset and said, just go. And so I did. I was shivering and walking as fast as I could all the way home. And once I walked across the street, I started panicking a little bit more because I started losing feeling on my arms, my legs, my feet. And I was like, oh my god, I'm gonna die, I'm gonna die, I'm gonna die, over and over and over again. And then I reached the corner and I was like, okay, just a couple more steps. Keep going. And so I'm walking as fast as I could. Honestly, at this point, I think I was walking probably a little bit slower than a snail because I was frozen. And then a minute or two later, I made it to my door. I was like, I made it home. All I have to do is open the door and walk in. And so I put my hands on the door handle and I have one of those doors where you have to push down on the handle to open the door. And since it was too cold outside, I had a hard time opening the door, and I gently kicked the bottom of my door like 3 or 4 times, and then I opened the door. I walk in, my dog is barking and jumping on me, happy to see me and all, and then I shut the door behind me, and I just said it to myself out loud. I could have died today if I didn't make it home. And I was so cold to the point where everything I touched felt like a knife stabbing your palm over and over and over again. And once I realized how much pain I was in, I just fell to my knees and I started crying and said, "I'm so sorry," over and over and over again. After I said that while I was crying, I just lost consciousness. And from what I remember, no one in my family was home while this was happening, so no one knows that this happened. I'm just in a fetal position on the ground, unconscious, in front of my dishwasher. Yeah, I know, lame spot to cry, whatever. But anyways, if my family did see me in the position I was in, I know what my family's expressions would be and what they would have done. Like, I wish they were there to witness it, but at the same time, I'm kind of glad they didn't. 'Cause if they did see me, they probably would have called 911, or they would have ran straight towards me and just hugged me until I got warm and regained consciousness. Anyways, I believe I was unconscious for 2 hours. I don't really remember. It's such a blur. But after those 2 hours passed, I woke up and yeah, I was still cold, but at least my whole body wasn't frozen where I couldn't touch anything. And I just told myself, you know what? Just go to bed with my heating blanket on full blast and you'll be fine. It was about 7 o'clock at night when this was happening. And so I went to bed. And so the next morning rolls around and I'm still cold, but I was much warmer than I was when I woke up from being unconscious. And then I proceeded the day as normal, and yeah, that's about it for my near-death experience from walking home, guys. I really hope you enjoyed it. I had a really hard time recording this because I'm not really good at telling stories. And I'm still kind of traumatized by all this after that traumatic experience from almost freezing to death. I got sick, so yay. That's why I kind of sound like I died. But anyway, long story short, a lesson was learned. I'm still in shock that I'm still alive after all of this. It was so cold outside, I could have died. And I just can't believe that I survived, and I couldn't be any more happier, really. Anyways, guys, thank you all so much for watching, and I guess I will see you all next time in another Storytime video, or whatever I make next. Goodbye for now.